Let me guess, you've set big goals before. You were fired up, you were going to transform your entire life, hit the gym every single day, read for 2 hours, build that side business, become a completely different person by next month. And then what happened? You lasted 3 days, maybe a week if you're stubborn. Then life happened. You got tired, you got busy, and suddenly that massive transformation plan was just another thing you failed at. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. You're not failing because you lack willpower, you're not failing because you're lazy, you're failing because you're trying to change too much, too fast. And that's exactly where most people get this completely wrong. Today, I'm going to show you something that sounds almost too simple to work. It's called the 1% rule. And no, this isn't some feel-good motivation speech. This is math. Cold, hard, undeniable math that proves how getting just 1% better every single day will completely transform your life within a year. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why tiny improvements compound into massive results. And you're going to leave here with one specific thing to improve today. Not 10 things, not a complete life overhaul, one thing, 1%. Let's get into it. Here's where it gets interesting. If you improve by 1% every single day for a year, you don't end up 365% better. The math doesn't work that way. You end up 37 times better. Not 365%, 37 times better. That's 3,700% improvement. Let me write that out. If you start at 1.0 and multiply it by 1.01, that's 1% improvement. Every single day for 365 days, you get 37.78. 1.01 to the power of 365 equals 37.78. But here's the flip side, and this is what should terrify you. If you get 1% worse every day, if you decline by just 1% daily, you know where you end up? 0.99 to the power of 365 equals 0.03. You decline to nearly zero. You're down to 3% of where you started. That's the power of compound growth. And that's why the 1% rule isn't just some motivational fluff. It's mathematics applied to your life. Think about your fitness. If you do one extra push-up today, one more tomorrow, you're not just adding push-ups, you're building strength that makes the next one easier. You're building neural pathways. You're building identity. You're becoming the person who does push-ups. If you read 10 pages today, you're not just reading, you're building focus. You're building vocabulary. You're building knowledge that makes the next 10 pages faster to absorb. That compounds. Your skill with writing, coding, drawing, speaking, whatever it is, doesn't improve linearly. It compounds. Every hour of practice makes the next hour more effective because you're building on everything you learned before. But you have to be consistent. That's the key. The math only works if you show up every single day. Miss a day, and you're not just losing that day's improvement, you're breaking the compound chain. Now let's talk about why this actually works from a psychological standpoint, because understanding the mechanism is what makes you believe in it. Big changes trigger resistance. Your brain has something called homeostasis. It wants to keep things the same. When you try to overhaul your entire life overnight, your brain literally fights you. It sees massive change as a threat. But 1%? Your brain doesn't even notice 1%. There's no resistance, no internal alarm bells. You slip past your own psychological defenses. James Clear talks about this in Atomic Habits. He calls them atomic habits, small fundamental units that compound over time. The reason they work isn't just math, it's because they're sustainable. You know what's not sustainable? Going from never running to running 5 miles a day. You know what is? Running for 2 minutes today. That's less than 1% of your day. Your brain can't argue with 2 minutes. Here's another psychological principle: identity-based change. Every time you do that 1% action, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. You're not trying to get fit, you're becoming someone who exercises. That's a huge difference. You write 1 page, you're a writer. You study Spanish for 10 minutes, you're someone who speaks Spanish. The 1% improvement is actually an identity shift in disguise. And here's the beautiful part: small wins create momentum. That's dopamine. That's Psychology 101. When you hit that tiny goal, your brain rewards you. You want to do it again tomorrow. The habit becomes self-reinforcing. Big goals, they take forever to show results. You get demoralized. You quit. Small goals give you daily wins, daily proof that you're moving forward. That keeps you going. Let me give you some concrete examples of how this plays out in real life, because theory is worthless without application. Fitness. You do 10 push-ups today. That's your baseline. Tomorrow, you could try for 11. Or you could just focus on better form. That's a 1% improvement in quality. In 2 months, you're doing 25 perfect push-ups without even thinking about it. In 6 months, you're doing 50. That's not because you forced it. It's because you compound it. I've seen this with people who start with literally 1 push-up. 1. They can barely do 1. But they do 1 every day, then 2, then 3. Within a year, they're in the best shape of their lives. Not because they did some insane workout program, because they showed up every single day and improved by just a little bit. Reading. 10 pages a day doesn't sound like much. That's maybe 15 minutes. But 10 pages a day is 3,650 pages a year. That's roughly 12 to 15 books, depending on length. How much would 12 books change your knowledge base, your vocabulary, your thinking? Now, compound that improvement. As you read more, you read faster. You comprehend better. You make connections between books. By month 6, those 10 pages take you 10 minutes instead of 15. So you read 12 pages in the same time. That's compounding in action. Skills. Let's say you're learning guitar. You practice for 15 minutes today. You learn 1 chord transition. Tomorrow, in another 15 minutes, you smooth out that transition and start a new one. It doesn't feel like much day to day, but in 3 months, you can play a simple song. In 6 months, you can play 20 songs. In a year, people are asking you to play at parties. That's not talent. That's not some gift. That's showing up for 15 minutes a day and getting 1% better at finger positioning, at rhythm, at reading tabs. Career. You improve your writing by 1% a day. You send a better email. You make your report 1% clearer. Nobody notices today, but in 3 months, your boss notices you communicate well. In 6 months, you're the person they ask to draft important messages. In a year, you're getting promoted because you're just better at your job than you were. Here's a real example. I know someone who decided to learn 1 new keyboard shortcut per week. 1. That's way less than 1% daily improvement. In a year, they knew 52 shortcuts. They were so much faster at their work that they got promoted. 1 shortcut a week. But let's talk about the other side of this equation, because it's equally powerful and way more dangerous. The 1% decline. You skip the gym once. No big deal, right? It's just 1 day. You're only 1% worse. But it's easier to skip tomorrow and the next day, and suddenly you haven't worked out in a month. You're not 1% worse. You've compounded that decline. You're significantly weaker, significantly less motivated. You eat 1 unhealthy meal. Fine. But it makes the next unhealthy choice easier. That compounds too. In 6 months, you've gained weight, you feel sluggish, and you can't figure out how it happened. It was 1% at a time. You procrastinate on that project for one day. Just one. But it's easier to procrastinate tomorrow. The deadline gets closer, the stress compounds, the quality of your work declines, all because you declined 1% on day one. This is why bad habits are so insidious. They don't destroy you instantly. They erode you slowly, 1% at a time, until you wake up one day and don't recognize yourself. The same math that can make you 37 times better can make you decline to almost nothing. 0.99 to the power of 365 equals 0.03. From 100% to 3%. That's what consistent 1% decline does. This is why you need to be ruthlessly honest about your daily actions. Every day, you're either compounding positive or compounding negative. There is no neutral. You're either 1.01 or 0.99. Choose. All right, enough theory. Let's get practical. What's your one thing? Not your 10 things, your one thing that you're going to improve by 1% today. Here's how to choose it. Pick something that matters to you. Not something you think you should do, not something that sounds impressive, something that actually aligns with who you want to become. Make it stupidly small. So small you can't fail. So small your brain won't resist. If you want to start reading, don't commit to an hour. Commit to 1 page. 1. If you want to start exercising, don't commit to a full workout. Commit to 1 push-up. 1. The goal isn't the 1 push-up. The goal is showing up. The goal is casting that vote for your identity. The goal is starting the compound chain. Here are some examples to get you thinking. Fitness, 1 push-up, 1-minute plank, 2 minutes of walking, anything, just 1% of movement. Learning, 1 page of a book, 5 minutes of a course, 1 new word in a language you're learning. Career, 1 paragraph of better writing, 1 task done 1% faster, 1 new skill practiced for 10 minutes. Health, 1 vegetable added to your meal, 1 glass of water, 2 minutes of meditation. Relationships, 1 genuine compliment, 1 minute of undivided attention, 1 text checking in. Pick 1. Write it down right now, not later, right now. Pause this video if you need to, grab a pen, and write down the one thing you're improving by 1% today. Got it? Good. Now here's the commitment. You're going to do that thing every single day for the next 30 days. Not when you feel like it, every single day. That's how you build the compound chain. Here's your challenge, and this is where we separate the people who actually want to change from the people who just like the idea of changing. The 30-day 1% challenge. For the next 30 days, you're going to improve one thing by 1% every single day. You're going to track it. Every single day, you're going to write down what you did. A check mark, a note, something. Tracking creates accountability. And here's the rule. You don't get to skip a day, not one. Because skipping one day makes it easier to skip the next. You're either compounding positive or compounding negative. Choose positive. If you miss a day, and listen, life happens, you don't quit. You don't say, well, I ruined it. You get back on track immediately, the next day. The compound chain can handle one break if you don't let it become 2. At the end of 30 days, you're going to look back and you won't believe how much progress you made with such a small daily commitment. That's the power of compound growth. That's the 1% rule. And here's what's going to happen. After 30 days, that 1% action is going to be so ingrained in your identity that you won't want to stop. It won't be a challenge anymore. It'll just be who you are. That's when you add a second 1% improvement, then a third. Before you know it, you're compounding multiple positive habits, and your life is genuinely transforming, not because you made some massive change, Because you made tiny changes consistently. Look, you're going to watch this video and you're going to feel motivated. That's great. But motivation doesn't mean anything if you don't act on it in the next 5 minutes. So here's what you do right now before this feeling fades. Pick your one thing, the 1% improvement. Write it down. Set a reminder on your phone for tomorrow. Tell someone about it. Make it real. Don't wait until tomorrow to decide. Tomorrow never comes. Decide right now. And then, most importantly, do the thing today. Do it in the next hour. Do your one push-up, read your one page, take your one small action. Start the compound chain right now. Because here's the truth. 1 year from now, you're gonna be somewhere. The only question is whether you'll be 37 times better than you are right now, or whether you'll be at 3% wondering where the time went. The math doesn't lie. 1.01 to the power of 365 equals 37.78. That's your potential. That's what showing up every single day with 1% improvement will do for you. So get to work. Do your 1% today, and I'll see you tomorrow when you're 1% better than you are right now. That's the 1% rule. Now go compound.